Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Colby from Game Reavers. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Dungeons & Dragons board game, Castle Ravenloft. Very cool looking board game here. It comes in a nice box package here. Very reminiscent of that 4th edition D&D kind of vibe going on. Very cool artwork here. Let's just take a look at the box here. The top has the regular Castle Ravenloft logo. Same on the bottom. Same on the sides. There we go. And on the back, we get a cool little overview of what's included in the game and all the cool pieces and everything. Very nice. This came out in 2010. It basically was the first edition, or the first released board game that they put out that was D&D themed, basically. So kind of their first foray into that whole board game realm. Very cool looking. This retails right now for about $40 or so. I'll put a link to the Amazon store page down below here. You can check that out if you'd like. And we're just going to go ahead and unbox this thing and take a look at the contents and see what now's going on with it. So let's get to it. We're just going to start out with our X-Acto knife here and just get through this plastic up front. Quick slice. And get rid of the wrapper. The box itself is very nice. It's kind of got that kind of silky print stuff going on, which is very nice. Feels very cool. But let's go ahead and get this out. This one seems to actually slide out a lot better than some of the other ones here for whatever reason. They all kind of take just a minute to kind of work their way out. There we go. Throw this to the side here. And we have the contents here. Up first, we've got the cool rule book. Again, same kind of artwork here, inspired by that 4th edition kind of vibe. We'll flip through this thing real quick so y'all can just get a gander at it. The actual gameplay on this one is basically the same. They've actually not really deviated much at all since they've released any of these board game sets. So it's pretty cool, pretty easy to pick up once you actually get to start playing. And if you've played one, you know how to play all the rest of them. So that's very cool. We get 15 pages counting the back side here. Yes. So cool rulebook. Lay that to the side and move on. We've got a little insert here for some of the rest of the D&D Adventure series. And some more stuff on the back here. We have the actual adventure book here, which is different than the actual rule book because this is basically your adventure sets. So we'll just flip through this real quick as well. This basically tells you the scenario and tells you how to play through each different setup here. Pretty easy to actually get started once you actually sit down with it. The setup time on these things aren't very involved, so still pretty cool. We have 13 adventures, so 13 modules. Pretty cool though. We have a set of dungeon tiles, and we will go ahead and open them up as well, and then we'll get to the stuff that's below, which is more interesting. These do come shrink wrapped as well, so we just kind of slice this off. And pull the wrapper off. For whatever reason, they actually have these tiles in 2 separate sections. So we've got this pack here, and there should be another one underneath this deck here, which we'll look at in a second here. pretty straightforward. You've got all your like little tokens and everything around the sides, and then some straightforward kind of dungeon tiles here. These are all set up in that same kind of grid pattern that they use for the rest of the standard D&D modules. So these are essentially 1 square inch. So you take like any actual D&D figure and they fit on the boards here. So you can actually reuse these as just regular dungeon tiles for any other game you have. And on the back we've got just kind of the blind side and some token stuff. So pretty cool. There's the first one. Set it to the side here and go on to the next one. This one's very similar but still slightly different. So very nice detail work on these things though. And number 3 is slightly different, but still following the same pattern here. So pretty nice. And number 4, and it says up here at the top, the tile sheets 5 through 13 are under the holding tray. So these are pretty cool. They have like little crypts and just tombs and things like that, and you've got little details like this cool ladder system staircase thing going on here, which is very cool. So you can add layers to it if you want. Little piles of bones here, there, and about, so that's really cool. And some like just sewagey stuff going on there, so pretty nice. We've got the actual holding tray here that we will come to in just a moment, but we're going to set this to the side and yank up the rest of these tiles. Set those there, stick the tray back down here, and just go through all the tiles here while we're at it. Keep on a roll with them. Slice the little plastic off of there, rip it off. There we go. And we've got tile sheet number 5 here. Still very similar to the other ones, but that's kind of the theme that we got going on. So it's supposed to be like that. Flip it over to the back. You've got the blind side again. And more tokens and stuff on the side. Tile sheet number 6. If you want to take a closer look at these, feel free to pause the video at any moment here and just zoom in if you'd like. And number 8, King's Crypt, Fetid Den. And you've got some of the tokens over here for monsters. You've got Draco Leech, Werewolf, Flesh Golem, Kobold Sorcerer, some amulet stuff, wooden stakes, very cool stuff. Number 9, we got Count Stride, Zombie Dragon, Young Vampire, Dimensional Shackles, some Holy Water. Very nice. Number 10, an Arcane Circle, Laboratory, Chapel, Monster, 2 monsters, 3 monsters, 0 monsters. I do really like this Arcane Circle. It's got some nice glyphs going on there. Nice color there too that you probably can't see, but there we are. And tile sheet number 11 actually gets into some of the character cards here. So we've got Cat the Human Rogue, Alyssa the Human Ranger, Thorgrim the Dwarf Cleric, Arjun the Dragonborn Fighter. Very nice looking. Some encounter cards there. Tile sheet number 12, Emerald the Eladrin Wizard, a Young Vampire, Flesh Golem, and a Werewolf. So our monster cards here. And number 13, which is our starting tile, our healing surges, our time tokens, and Count Strahd von Zarovich. and our big baddie, Gravestorm, the Draco Leech. Very cool. So that's all your tiles that you get, so very nice. We've got, let's see here, 2 decks of cards. We've got some cool miniatures. And yes, so what we will do now is we'll go ahead and zoom in and take a look at the 2 card decks, and we'll go ahead and take a closer look at our miniatures, because I know that's what a lot of y'all are looking for. So yes, let's get to that. And that's pretty much everything that's in the box here. So there we go with that. I'll go ahead and zoom in and just stick with us here. We're zoomed in and getting ready to take a look at the 2 decks of cards. So we'll just pick one at random here, and then we'll come back to that one. Go ahead and unwrap these things. Alright, so in this deck we've got our sequence of play. So these are your just cheat sheets for how to go about playing the game itself. So you deal one of these to each of your players, and it kind of tells you the basic rules and how you go about with the exploration phase, the villain phase, the hero phase, etc, etc, etc. So very cool. Then we have in this deck treasure cards, and we have adventure treasure. I'm not really sure the difference between adventure treasure and treasure cards, but must be some difference. And a whole bunch of monster cards. Then we have some encounter cards. Yes. So with that said, let's take a look and see what these things are. And I'm just going to flip through these things real quick. Feel free to pause the video at any time. And if you don't want to read spoilers, then you can go ahead and fast forward through this part while we flip through the cards here. But otherwise, feel free to pause anytime you want to here. Skeletons, gargoyles, ghouls, kobold skirmisher, kobold, however you want to pronounce that, rat swarms, skeleton undeads, spider vermin, wolf animal, wraith, zombies, silver dagger, wooden stake, Feywalk amulet, torch, dimensional shackles, holy symbol of ravenkind, icon of Ravenloft, tomb of Strand, sunsword, heroic stand, guided strikes, rejuvenating onslaught, run, surround them, action surge, breath of fire, breath of life, burst of speed, distant sounds, clear the air, daze, eagle eyes, glimpse of the future, harrowed experience, intimidating bellow, level up, lucky find, moment's respite, shake it off, short rest, amulet of protection, boots of striding, crystal ball, dragon's breath elixir, glyph of warding, holy water, holy avenger, lucky charm, magic sword, necklace of fireballs, potion of healing, potion of rejuvenation, ring of accuracy, ring of regeneration, scroll of teleportation, thieves' tools, and the wand of teleportation. So Pretty cool looking deck here. The good thing about all these cards is that even if you're not actually playing the adventure through the actual board game itself, you can actually use these cards in any of your D&D campaigns. It's a fairly easy way to kind of like taking some of these treasure cards and basically just kind of randomly rewarding, adding them into your treasure pile for your players. Very cool kind of tools for just the Dungeon Master itself. So very nice. Up next is our second set of cards. I'm going to do the same thing with those. Just unwrap them real quick. And we'll flip through them and see what's in them. So in this deck we've got more encounter cards. A lot of encounter cards. Then we've got some wizard cards, rogue cards. So these are our character traits, abilities, and things like that. The ranger cards, fighter cards, cleric cards. So pretty cool looking. So for this deck we're going to do the same thing here. Just kind of flip through them really quick. Healing word, so these are only to be used by the whichever character it actually says on here, in this case the cleric, which is pretty nice, pretty easy to keep things separated so you don't have to worry about a character doing something that's kind of out of character for them, as it were. Divine Flare, Healing Strike, Lance of Faith, Beacon of Hope, Flame Strike, Hallowed Advance, Bless, Consecrated Ground, Shield of Faith, Dragon's Breath, Cleave, Trapping Strike, Tide of Iron, Brute Strike, Come and Get It, Precise Strike, Bodyguard, Get Over There, Unstoppable, Careful Attack, Hit and Run, Hunter Shot, Twin Shot, Attacks on the Run, Bounding Attack, Split the Tree, Crucial Aid, Unbalancing Parry, Yield Ground, Sneak Attack, Backstab, Death Strike, Snipe Shot, Dagger Barrage, Deep Cut, Riposte Strike, Great Leap, Spring Away, Stealth, Phase Step, Magic Missile, Thunder Wave, Scorching Burst, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Freezing Cloud, Dispel Magic, Illusionary Crowd, Shield. And here we get to some of the encounter cards, so these are pretty cool. Bat Swarm, Blood Fog, Cackling Skull, Crippling Miasma? I don't know. Deadly Shadows, Haunted Mists, Music of the Damned, Spirit of Doom, Bubbling Cauldron, Corner of Your Eye, Cowardly Flight, Cyrus Bellevue, Frenzy, Ghost of Prince Arl, Howl of the Wolf, Illusionary Trick, Leaf Lip Siege, Mists of Terror, Neglected Passage, Overrun, Overwhelming Terror, Passage of Time, Prowling Spirits, Reinforcements, Secret Door, Spirit of Doom, Strahn's Hunger, Strahn's Minions, Strahn's Trick, Strahn's Whispers, Summoning Circle, Teleport Glyph, Treasure Chest, Voice of the Master, Ambush, Animated Armor, Choking Fog, Circle of Death, Grey Ooze, Green Slime, Hands of the Dead, Howling Ghost, Icy Corridor, King Tumusku's Portal, Patrina Velkonvana, something like that. I'm terrible at these names in case you hadn't figured it out. But there are the two decks of cards. You kind of just mix them together and use them as directed in the actual rule book. But basically you get to a point where you have to draw an encounter card, you just shuffle them all up, and then you kind of randomly pick some of these things, and it tells you what happens in that particular session. Same thing when you have to draw treasure cards, you just kind of shuffle them together and draw a card, and that's kind of what you get. So very cool, and again, really great tools to use as a regular DM, just to kind of add a little bit of spice to your own games. So very cool cards. Up next are the actual miniatures themselves. And I know this is what a lot of y'all are looking forward to, so let's just go ahead and dive into it. We do have two different bags here. One bag includes the big bad Draco Leech, and the other bag has all the smaller miniatures. So let's go for the small bags first, and then we'll get to the big bad guy towards the end of this. So yes, go ahead and just cut open this enclosing bag and dump out all these guys. Cool, so we actually have another set of bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these bags to go through. So I'll just go, I guess, by size here, kind of. And we'll just kind of work our way through all these as we go. So we'll start with these blue guys here. Most of the time, these are going to be our player characters. So each character in the game, you can have up to 5 players, gets to pick which character they want to play, which is cool. So we got some nice cool miniatures here. So just to start off with, these are basically the 28mm size. So same size as our traditional D&D miniatures here, so shouldn't be any surprise to any of that stuff. Same kind of 1-inch round bases on all these things, and on the bottom of them they do actually have the character names here, so that's really nice and really helpful for people like me who can never remember the names of anybody. So let's zoom in just a little bit here, and we'll see how we can go about doing this. So the first one we have here is Thorgrim, the Dwarf Cleric. If I can get the light there to shine right there. Thorgrim. So this is a pretty cool looking miniature here. It has some nice, really detail work here. This is pretty standard for all of these D&D miniatures that we have in these games. They do come unpainted, and you can use them right out of the box here, or you can always go back in and paint them yourself as you feel the need. I really do like painting the miniatures, but don't always have time to do that, so it's nice that you can just kind of play these as they are. So still some really nice detail work on that. They look really cool in person. So there's the first one. Next up is Alicia, the Human Ranger, or Alyssa, I guess is the name on this one. So I'll do a quick spin around here. Again, some really cool detail work here. It looks really nice. I like this one. Just enough detail there in the face to kind of see what's going on. Some nice detail on the armor and everything. So really cool miniature there. Next up we have Cat, the Human Rogue. There we go. This one is a little wonky looking. The sword here is a little bent. You can always just heat this up a little bit and kind of straighten that out. These are usually not that big of a deal to try to figure out how to redo those. So still, they're kind of flimsy sometimes, like this here arrow thing, dagger, whatever that's supposed to be. But some nice detail work regardless. Next up we have Emerald, the Eldrin Wizard. Do a spinny spin on this one. Getting some nice detail on these. Really cool looking. guess he's doing a casting a spell or something there. And our last one is Arjun, the Dragonborn Fighter. This one is not quite got as much detail in the face as I would like, but still looks pretty good. Might could stand just a coat of paint on it, and it would probably look a lot better, but still pretty cool looking. Nice cool axe he's got there. Almost looks like a predator. Very cool. So there is your 5 player characters. We'll slide those to the side and grab another box here. Bag. Alright, this time we got some gray guys. These should be some of the monsters for the game. Actually, the rest of these should be monsters and things like that, and just bad guys in general. So pretty cool. We'll just start here with this guy here. This is a werewolf, in case you hadn't figured that out yet. But some still nice detail work in this one. You see some fur patterns and things like that. Occasionally you'll get some little bits like this where it's not quite as nice as you might like. So you can take an X-Acto knife and clean that up a little bit. But overall, not too bad here. Then we've got Clack, the Kobold Sorcerer. Pretty cool looking. I like this guy. Looks kind of like Mumra from the Thundercats. And let's see who this one is. This is a Howling Hag. You see that? Howling Hag. And you can actually see them howling in there. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that one. Lots of little details on this one. And our last gray guy here is Count Stride the Vampire. So this is the big bad guy from the actual box. Nice detail work. I do like the big sheath on his back here for his sword. Very cool looking. May look a little stunted, to be honest with you, proportion wise. Just picking up this guy here. So he's not quite as big as I would like him to be here for the main bad guy in this particular game. So that's slightly disappointing, but still pretty nice little set there. Slide those to the side and grab this blue pack here. These are really cool. These are all that translucent plastic here. Hopefully that picks up on camera pretty well, but that is really cool looking, to be honest with you. I really do like this, the way they did these. So, anyways, this one is a blazing skeleton. And you're probably not going to be able to see quite as much detail on these guys simply because this translucent plastic doesn't pick up really well on the camera here. So, in person, though, they look really awesome. And I don't know if that'll help or not. But so there's a really cool skeleton guy in here that's basically on fire. So this was a really cool looking guy. And I do like that translucent plastic there, so that's really cool. And it looks like we actually have some duplicates of these now. So there's should be probably 3 of each of these. So 3 of those skeletons, blazing skeletons, and 3 of these guys, which are wraiths. And again, you can't see that, but still a really cool looking sculpt on these things. I really do like this kind of ghost protoplasmic kind of effect going on here. This is really awesome. So you get 3 of each of those as well. So very nice. We'll slide those off to the side and grab another pack. We'll go with these red guys next. Alright, and I think these will follow suit. And we should have some pairs of these things. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to pair this up as best we can. 3 of these. 3 of these. 3 of these. 3 of these. And 3 of these. So, cool. So all in all, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 15 miniatures in this set here. Cool. We'll start with these here. This is the ghoul. And it's the best way to get this so y'all can see everything. The detail work shows up pretty good in these, actually. You can actually see he's got a hand or an arm here he's chewing on. So that's actually pretty cool. Really nice looking. We get 3 of those guys. We'll grab this guy, which is just a kobold skirmisher. Again, just enough detail here to make it pretty interesting. You can actually see some of the scale on his shirt underneath there. Pretty nice. 3 of those guys. We get 3 of these spiders. I don't really like spiders, but these look cool anyways. Very nice looking. And then we got 3 of these wolves. Again, not quite as nicely detailed as some of the more recent wolves that we've seen, but still pretty nice. They're not quite as big as dire wolves either, so just regular wolves here, but still pretty serviceable. Looks pretty decent. And then we've got some rat swarms here. These probably not going to see much in 3D, but that looks pretty creepy though there with all those kind of piled up together like that. So that's pretty cool. Alright, there's all of those. We'll slide them to the side as well. Grab this bag of cream color looking bad guys. Let's see what we got in here. Some slightly bigger monsters in here. One really big guy. So we're getting away from our number count here a little bit. And for whatever reason, they actually included these little plastic clamshells for these guys. So I guess they're a little bit more flimsy here. So I guess it's a pretty good idea to put those in there. So we'll take a look at well, why don't we just take a look at it first here. So these are just skeleton warriors. We get 3 of them. They got some pretty nice detail work actually. They look really cool. Pretty standard skeletons here. Some nice details in the shield. So yeah, all in all, very nice. I like those. We'll shove them back in here just for the sake of argument there. So anyways, we get 3 of those. Then we've got some gargoyles. I don't know if y'all can see that name or not. This cream's a little harder to see on. But really cool looking gargoyles though. I like these guys a lot. Nice and big. Here's a regular character here. It's pretty awesome. Really nice size, really nice detail work on these guys. They are kind of 2 pieces here, so there's a little bit of blue showing up on this one for whatever reason, but 3 of those. Then these guys right here are zombies. Really nice looking detail work on them as well. Very cool. I like these guys. Zombies. 3 zombies. Then we have 1 flesh golem. Large size monster. This one has a lot of really cool details on him. You can see all the scars and stitches and everything kind of going all the way around. You can see where his flesh is kind of ripped off. You can see the muscle underneath there. So that's actually really cool. That is really awesome. I like this guy. I said that already, hadn't I? Still very cool looking. Nice large size. Have those guys face off there. Very cool. And here we have a zombie dragon. This one looks pretty cool. Has some nice detail work on it as well. It's a little bit small in comparison to our standard player character mini. So I guess it's just a baby zombie dragon. Still very nice looking. This one would look really cool painted and could fit in with a lot of other things as well. So there are all of our beige miniatures. Last up is the big bad guy here. And a set of a single die. Standard D20 here. It rolls. I don't really know what else you want to know about that, but standard, it's really great that they go ahead and include these in here because you'll need them. I do kind of wish they had included more than just the one. What I've kind of found is that it's nice to have one of these for each of your player characters so that you don't have to pass this single die around for actions all the time, which is what happened the last time I played one of these with a new group. I didn't think to actually bring any extra die with me, so all we had was the single one, so we had to kind of pass it around. So if they're out there listening at all, include some more dice in here. But I've got plenty of them, I guess, but still it'd be nice to have more than one. Our last one is Gravestorm, the Draco Leech. Nice big miniature. Really cool looking detail work on this guy. Looks really awesome. Very, very impressive. And for scale comparison, here's our player character. Whoops, standard player character. So you can kind of see it's pretty massive. Not quite as big as some of the like gargantuan size stuff or anything like that. So this is still just a large dragon, but yeah, I really wish these were bigger. But there we go. There is all of the miniatures that we get in the set. There's actually ends up being quite a few of these things, so it's a great package to pick up just for the sheer number of miniatures that you get in this. So yes, if you are needing just some extra miniatures for some of your standard tabletop games, this is a great set to pick up. It's got a very nice kind of undead feel to it, so really cool. Lots of cool ones in here. So that's everything that comes in this particular board game. It's got a really awesome amount of miniatures in it. It's got some really cool cards. The gameplay itself is really fun, really exciting. It's kind of an undead vampire kind of world thing going on. So yeah, I actually really like this one, and I actually kind of like most of these Dungeons and Dragons board games. So knowing that this one was kind of their first one, it's pretty cool. It does definitely kind of have that same kind of vibe that all the rest of them have. And it's actually good to kind of have that same gameplay carried on even now in their recent releases. So it's really great that they kind of did it right out of the gate, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So, very cool game. If you haven't picked it up already, I do recommend getting it. You may actually want to paint some of the miniatures that go along with this, but it's ready to play right out of the box. Setup time is about 10 minutes, maybe at the most. From there, gameplay is, it just depends on how many people you have and how many of them have actually played any of these games in the past. But it's easy to get 60 minutes to, an hour and a half out of a single adventure module. You can go a little bit further than that if you get really into the role-playing aspects of it with your group. And there's 13 adventures in the set here, plus you can kind of mix and match, and everyone's going to be a slightly different one, so the replay value on this thing is really outstanding. Very cool looking. I do highly recommend you pick it up. Check a link in the description below, and you can check it out on Amazon, see what the price it is, and pick it up there if you don't. Otherwise, check out your local game store. That's all the time we've got for today, so thanks for watching. Drop some comments down below. Let us know what you think about Castle Ravenloft. That should probably have sounded much scarier, but it's not. So anyways, feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up. Share with your friends. Go pick this thing up, and happy gaming. And until next time, game on.